The old Richmond Fairgrounds track has undergone many a facelift since it opened back in 1946. But as the fans enjoy the modern facility, it remains the shortest track on the schedule. 300 laps around this 1.2-kilometer bank track present a real challenge for the 26 drivers in tonight's starting lineup. Live from Richmond International Raceway, it's the Richmond Indy Challenge, the third night race of the year, and as we've mentioned, the shortest racetrack on the schedule. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee alongside Larry Rice. Larry, there are 14 drivers in this field that have never raced here before, and if they thought Iowa was a workout last week,
then they're going to be really surprised tonight because this place is tough. It's very mentally tough because you're always in a bind, you're always turning, there's no place to rest, and also you've got to be physically ready because this race is 50 laps longer than it was last year.
A lot of G-loading, as Eddie Cheever says, is like flying a fighter jet in a gymnasium. Well, there's the man that's on the pole today, but this is what happened last week. Tony Kanaan in Iowa led 4 different times for 71 laps, was running third on lap 212, and the car just jumped out on him.
Yeah, he was the guy to beat from all appearances. He was really quick, but it just looked like he got in some dirty air. He's admitted he just lost it. He really didn't know why. It was a tough break for him. He's due to win.
Well, late in the qualifying session last night, it was Tony Kanaan knocking his teammate Marco Andretti off the pole with a 4-lap average of 268.4 kilometers, just edging his teammate. His second pole of the year. Of course, he was on the pole at St. Petersburg. You take a look at this year versus last year. He's yet to win this year. He's had 3 podium finishes, a second and 2/3, but he wants victory lane.
Yeah, he's had 3 DNFs this year. It just hasn't been a good year. He's ready to turn that around.
Well, of course, the team that has it all worked out is the Target Chip Ganassi. The Homestead victory. There's the victory, Kansas, for Dan Weldon. Of course, the big win for Scott Dixon at Indianapolis, almost $4 million in prize money. They have won 5 times on the ovals and have led 52% of all the oval laps this season.
Yeah, they've been very, very tough. And you can see, first and third in the point standings. The real thing there is the average finish, 4.6 and 5.1. Those are excellent average finishings. And remember, Dixon had one really bad finish, finished like 22nd.
Well, you should take a look at the point standings. It's been consistency that's kept Elio in the top 5. He's 48 points back, but he's yet to find victory lane. Dan Weldon with his 2 victories is third. As you look at the rest of the top 10, Eddie Carpenter having a good solid year back there in the 10th position. Now we're about 3 to 5 minutes away from the command to start the engines. You're on board with Muto, who will start today in the 7th position as we're ready to go 300 laps here at Richmond International Raceway. It is a typically hot and humid day here, about 35 degrees Celsius, very humid, it's very taxing. The 14-degree banking in the corner is very taxing on these drivers here this evening. Glad we're racing at night. Well, as we'll take a look at a good crowd, the largest crowd that we have had here at this racetrack. It's been around since 1946. As you take a look at the past winners in the field, there's Dixon, the winner. He led every lap here in 2003, Weldon 2004, and Castro Evans won this race in 2005. So now let's join the public address system for the command to fire the engines.
Words in motorsports. Please welcome back Max Angelelli and Wayne Taylor as they give the command.
Go. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
A couple of outstanding road racers, but even after all the rehearsals, it took a little prompting there on Wayne's part. Max, go. Say your first line. So one by one, these Hondas are firing up, and we talk about an all Honda-powered series, but there was some talk this week that we could go to turbocharged engines in about 4 or 5 years down, and we'll talk more about that during the telecast. But there was a big meeting in Indianapolis this past week on cars and engines for the future of the IndyCar series. As we take a look at the starting lineup, once again, Tony Kanaan, his second pole of the season, 10th of his career. Marco Andretti, his second front row start of the year. The second row, Graham Rahal, a rookie on the inside. Scott Dixon, of course, a past winner and the points champion leader right now. In the third row on the inside is Buddy Rice, by far his best start of the season for the Dreyer Reinbold team, and Dan Weldon, the winner just last week. He's finished every lap of competition this season. In the fourth row, Hideki Muto for Andretti Green, and A.J. Foyt off his best finish of the year. He finished fifth last week in Iowa. In the fifth row on the inside, it's Bruno Junqueira. On the outside, Ariel Servio, a couple of guys. And we'll look forward to that road course next week at Watkins Glen because they enjoy the road racing more than the ovals. In the sixth row on the inside, Ryan Briscoe, not qualifying all that well for Penske Racing. John Andretti could be his last race unless that Marty Roth team can find some sponsorship for John. Eddie Carpenter and Danica Patrick starting outside row 7, her worst starting position on an oval track this season. In the eighth row on the inside, Marty Roth surprised a lot of people, went out last to qualified well. Will Power, a promising rookie, outside the eighth row. In the ninth row on the inside, Vito Almeida, twice he's finished second here in this race. And look at Castro Neves. This is his worst starting position in some 4 years. Only twice in his IndyCar Series career has he started worse. There's E.J. Vizo, had a great practice run yesterday, but wiggled a bit in qualifying and starts back the 10th row with Marias. In the 11th row on the inside, Townsend Bell, only his 5th race this season. He is sharing that ride with Milka Duno. And Darren Manning for A.J. Foyt. A.J.'s not here this weekend, and I'm sure we'll probably amplify on that as the race continues. Justin Wilson, Jamie Camara outside the 12th row. Jamie just becoming a father for the first time last Thursday. Congratulations to him. In the 13th row, Ryan Hunter-Reay. What a heartbreak. He was fast in practice, had a mechanical problem, could not qualify. And Bernardi came down to take the green flag to qualify and lost control.
Yeah, so it's been a tough. Ryan Hunter-Reay was really, really fast. It's too bad for him. Race distance, 362 kilometers. Pit window, 95 to 100. A lot of that's going to depend on yellows. It could be 85 or 90. If there's no yellows, could stretch it a little longer if there isn't. So we'll see. 33 degrees centigrade, very humid, very hot and humid here all day. It's cooling off a bit now. Wind 18 kilometers, that's not going to be a factor. The whole thing is just going to be getting in there and running around the racetrack now.
Of course, traffic is always a problem here on this racetrack, and it might be fun to watch as you take a look at some of the keys to the race, the fitness, the traffic, the fuel strategy. Elio Castroneves starting back there in the 18th position over the entire career in the IRL. His average starting spot has been 5.1. Back in 2002, he finished started 21st at Chicagoland and finished 4th. In 2004, 20th at Michigan and finished 10th. Those are the only 2 times he's had a worse starting position.
Well, the pit strategy is going to be the big thing here tonight, I think, for those guys, especially in the back like Castroneves.
A spin already, and that's Hunter-Reay. Will the yellow come out? The yellow does come out. Kanaan grabbed the lead at the start, but Hunter-Reay on some cold tires and probably a little over anxious.
Yeah, it just looked like he was very low on the racetrack, just got on the throttle a little too hard, and the thing went around on him, just did a complete 360, and he kept on going, didn't hit anything because he really wasn't running all that fast. But hopefully the tires aren't flat spotted, because if they are, then that's just, they only get 8 sets of tires, so if he's used a lot of them up, then he won't have enough for the race to finish.
Okay, let's watch a replay of this start. There he is, the back of the pack.
He just got on the throttle too hard. Just very plain and simple. Cold tires, running it. He's pinching the car on the bottom because there's cars on the outside of him. And when he pinched it a little bit and got on the throttle, it just came around on him. Luckily, he was running, like I said, at a slower speed, spun car around and kept on going.
The last few races, it has seemed that things have really come together for that team and for Ryan. He was looking for a good finish at Texas when he got scrambled up with Andretti late in the race. Yesterday, he was fast during practice. He went out to qualify. He was to be the first to qualify. The car wouldn't fire, and they found they had a problem with the paddle shifter.
Right, and so when you don't get to qualify now under this new qualifying procedure, they put you in the back, which really doesn't seem all that fair to me, because Ryan Hunter-Reay was he was the guy to beat. He was the fastest in every practice session all weekend long, and then has to start clearing the back.
Well, see, before we qualified 2 laps, the faster of the 2, and then if you didn't take your position in line to qualify, you were penalized 1 lap.
Right.
Well, now it's a 4-lap average on the ovals, and they just make you go at the back of the pack.
Yeah, now this yellow, they're trying to figure out, I think, the green had fallen. So now then they're trying, and they had
going back to complete restart, side by side, or single file?
No, I think they're going to single file, and some of those guys back there in the back think it's supposed to be a double file restart. And they're all lining up side by side, so they're trying to get everybody kind of straightened out back there. That's the reason we've been yellow for a little while. But tough break for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's going to come in and put those new tires in. He's already dead last, so it doesn't really matter.
Bernardi coming in as well. And, of course, they have an all call on the radio. So if these guys don't quite understand what's going on, they can hit them on the radio and tell them we're going to have a single file.
They're telling him.
You're clear.
Wilson was also in.
Yeah, they were just telling him. That was Hunter-Reay's radio. They were just telling him that, come in and get new tires, let's make sure this thing is ready to go. And these guys are already playing the pit strategy game. It's only been a couple of laps, but they figure if they can get any kind of an advantage.
Back in the pack is 4. Back in the pack is 4.
Okay,
Well, they put this car back together after he crashed, and obviously the car is not right. They're looking at the left front.
Yeah, there's obviously something wrong because they're taking it off, and he's right away going to go down a few laps, so a tough break for him.
Well, he'd go down a lot more laps if he parked that thing against the fence. Now, this is what happened yesterday. This was actually in practice.
Yeah, he just came around and tapped the left rear against the wall. But what they were doing there is they were feeling a ball joint. If they think they've got a loose ball joint up there that's letting that front end wiggle a little bit, and if they do, it's going to be a tough thing for him to do because those ball joints have to be tight on any kind of a racetrack with these cars.
All right, here they come. We should get the restart this time by with Marco chasing his teammate Kanan.
Dixon already.
Dixon to the inside. Rahal had a look to the inside of Marco. Couldn't make the pass. Then Dixon had a look to the inside of Rahal. Now Rahal has to be competitive. A crash already.
Will Powers into
Will
the front.
Power, our second yellow of the afternoon.
Off of turn number 4.
You all right, buddy? You okay, Will?
Well, of course, we can see that he's okay, but the crew can't.
Yeah, he's not very happy. We didn't hear his answer, but oh, look at this. Oh, he just got when Castroneves went around him on the outside. I mean Briscoe. No, it's Castroneves. He just all of a sudden he tried to pinch the car a little bit, and when he did, the back end wiggled, and it just took off straight for the wall. You can see him hard on the brakes, but when he saw Castroneves there on the outside, he turned down a little bit, and that caused the car to wiggle.
I think that probably surprised him when he saw him out there. He turned down to give him more room. And
see, that's one of the things
Jimmy
about
Vasser.
That's why this racetrack is so tough. Vasser's wondering what the heck happened. Of course, part owner of the car, so.
Well, he's been in the cockpit, so he knows what this racetrack can, how this racetrack can bite you. And you can see how fast that car can snap around, how fast something can happen.
Yeah, just as soon as he saw Castroneves on the outside of him, and he kind of pinched that car just a little bit. That's all it took. The back end wiggled, and then the front end took off, and by that time there was no way to stop it. You're so close to the wall at the speeds they're running here. There's no way to keep him hitting.
And he slapped that safer barrier.
Indication that something may have been wrong that caused the incident?
No, not at all, Vince. It just looked like Helio was trying to come around the outside, and the engineers are just going through the data here to see if they see anything, but he gave no indication of anything that went wrong. Just, I don't know, unfortunate situation this early in the race. We'll have to look at the data and look at the video and see what we can see.
Taking a little bit of time for him to get out of the car. Have you heard from him that he is okay?
Yeah, no, he's fine. I think the only thing that's hurt here is our pride.
Thank you.
Well, that was Mark Johnson, and there's Cal Coven, the co-owner of that race car. Yeah. Kevin owns it with Jimmy Vasser, and things can happen so quickly here. We talked about the 14 new drivers, and Larry, you and I talked last night of qualifying, and I said, with the extra 50 laps, 26 cars, a lot of new drivers, there's a lot of red flags there. A lot of things can happen.
Oh, yeah, a lot of things can happen, and that's why the pit strategy is going to be so important.
You can see the heavy damage. He really slapped that outside safer barrier, but we remain Cara rounds out the top 10 for the restart. Live coverage from the Richmond Indy Challenge, and unfortunately much of this race has been under yellow. We've had 2 yellows for Hunter Ray off the start, and for Will Power, who just slammed the outside wall. So we've had 12 laps of caution. We talked a lot this week from the standpoint of Scott Dixon complaining about Danica's driving, blocking, making the car too wide, and we had some radio transmission from him.
She's so hard to pass, man. She's all over the show.
I had an issue with the same car. My main issue was at Texas, and some of the movements were going on like I was talking about, you know, turning right to turn left.
I'm trying to think back to what they could be talking about, and to be honest, I have no idea.
And, you know, not only is it blocking, it's just really dangerous. It just comes down to between the drivers.
It's not my job to make it easy for them.
You know, just respect the guys that are having a good day, and you know, the good cars are going to go to the front, the bad ones are going to go to the back.
Danica seems to be in the spotlight, good, bad, or indifferent, but when a guy like Scott Dixon makes a comment about your driving, it tends to have some credibility.
Well, that's right, but you know, in all honesty, you're right, because she is in the spotlight. If they said that about anybody else, that we probably wouldn't, you know, because it happens all the time. Blocking happens all the time in this sport, and sometimes they call them on it, sometimes they don't. The one thing Danica has had a problem with, and the guys have consistently been on her about, is her restarts, and she has not been very good on restarts. I've seen her have some really great restarts, but only about 1 out of every 5 times. The other 4 times, I'm not sure whether she doesn't anticipate enough, because anticipation, restarts are all about anticipation. You've got to anticipate when the guys in front of you are going to go and try to pick up the throttle and either keep up with them or try to pass them, and she just doesn't seem to be very good at that yet.
Well, right now she will restart in the 13th position. She's behind John Andretti. We mentioned Junqueira is 10th. 11th is Briscoe. 12th is Andretti. 13th is Patrick. Then it's Carpenter, Castro-Neves, Roth, and Vizo. Gary Lee and Larry Rice with live coverage. The 9th race of the season. As we're halfway through, they pick up the throttle. We're going back to racing as they start lap 20. Again, no major move on that restart, Larry.
Well, you can see Briscoe and Castro-Neves both trying to make a move down there. Ooh, he almost got into Andretti right there. Andretti didn't give him a lot of room. Finally saw him and moved up. I think his spotter finally told him. But look at Briscoe. He's done the same thing. He's kind of moved in and out and around some guys. So both of the Penske cars very aggressive on the early going on the restart.
You mentioned John Andretti. Again, that's the Marty Roth Racing stable, the white 24. You see no sponsorship logos on the side pods, and they said if they don't get some sponsorship money, they may have to park that car. Roth apparently will continue on in the black 25, but poor John Andretti may be out of a ride without sponsorship money. There's a look at Danica back there in 14th position.
And she got a pretty good restart. She kept up with those guys. She didn't get around Andretti when Castro-Neves did, but she was right there with him. It was a very good restart for her after we just got through talking about how poorly she'd been on some of the restarts recently.
A.J. Vizo started 19th. He's up to 15th as you look at Castro-Neves. Castro-Neves now up to the 12th position.
We knew that it was going to be a very interesting. The qualifying yesterday was really an odd thing. The racetrack was much slower when qualifying started than it was when it ended. Some of the guys who went out very late had very quick times. All the guys in the top 3 were in the last 5 or 6 cars that went out. Dixon was an early qualifier, and he had a pretty good time. But there were a lot of the guys who, like Castro-Neves, who was fairly good most of the time in Serbia, but they went out very early, so their times were not nearly as good as maybe they had hoped they would be.
Junqueira. Wow. We go down to Brienne with Will Power.
Italian driver. Will, from your perspective, can you tell us what happened?
I just got loose. I mean, I was in buffeting air and really unfortunate. I was looking forward to this race. Just no points.
Physically, are you okay?
Yeah, I think so. I'll know tomorrow morning.
Guys, this is one driver that is definitely looking forward to next week when we get back to road course racing in Watkins Glen.
He he refers to tomorrow morning, that's the racing rheumatism.
Racing rheumatism. Everybody's sore that day. I'll tell you what, we were talking about this place not being a good place to pass this year. They forgot to tell Castroneves that, because he and Viso both have been running past guys pretty regular. Castroneves is up to 10th already.
And Viso is back there in 16th position. So once again, Kanaan has led every lap. Marco Andretti rides in second. Graham Rahal third. Dixon fourth. Weldon is fifth. And Rice is sixth. We mentioned coming into this race that, a spin, and let's see, the wing's been torn off. Oh, it's Foyt. Foyt, number 2, brings out our third yellow.
Wow. That's kind of surprising. He's been really having a good run.
Down 5.
Well, his voice says he's fine, but you can see by the demeanor that he's very upset with himself.
Yeah. Might have been teammates who got together. Wow.
Well, now this is not something you would expect to see on a racetrack anywhere where the teammates take each other out, if in fact that's the case.
Wouldn't make for a happy debriefing, would it, after the race is over?
Of course, that team owner is Mr. Tony George.
Yeah, we're only speculating at this point.
Well, let's take a look now. No, it was John Andretti that got into it.
Came down into John Andretti a little bit. And, it looked like the piece came off of the car.
Debris.
The debris came down, and Carpenter just caught it as he went by.
All right, here's the contact with John.
Yeah, it looked like he...
See what comes off the race car here if we can.
Yeah, you can't see it as it came off the other side, but...
this is from Danica's car.
We'll probably be able to see it from this.
And John was down about as far as he could be. He was on that yellow line.
Yeah, Foyt thought he'd cleared him, turned down, and he hit his right front. I mean, there's nothing John Andretti could do at that point. Foyt, right there was
some
the
of the
piece.
debris. Yeah, you see the debris.
Yeah, there's... And you can see right there, that was Hunter Ray that just ran over another piece.
Now we want to hear from Tony George, who owns Vision Racing. There's Ed Carpenter in the cockpit.
That's some momentum going in the positive direction after the 5th place finish last week. What kind of setback is this for your team?
Well, obviously it's disappointing to be out after a few laps of green. And, we were looking forward to doing well here this weekend, but, this isn't very good right now, obviously. I think Anthony's been fighting loose tonight, just a few laps we've run, and apparently Ed must have gotten hit by some debris, because I see he's in here with a bent right front, so short night.
You see the Lilly hat, the sponsorship on Foyt's car from the big pharmaceutical manufacturer in Indianapolis, Eli Lilly, and you can see that Carpenter is out. This could be a race of attrition over 300 laps this evening.
Yeah, I mean, look at this already. 33.
We've had 21 laps of yellow out of 33 laps.
Yeah,
so
it's just unbelievable. And, of course, how unlucky could you be? I mean, Carpenter wasn't even close to Foyt. He was like 6 cars back, and still he's the one that caught that piece of debris that put him out. So like you said, we've only run 34 laps, but we're going to start seeing some pit stops now, because a lot of these people, especially the people that are like 8th, 9th, 10th on back, they're going to come in, try to get some advantage by getting off sequence. There's Danica Patrick's in there.
Kanaan did stay out. Now, this track, the visibility is not good at this racetrack. A couple years ago in a test session, actually, Castroneves got upside down. There was a wreck in front of him, and he couldn't see it through the corner, made contact, rolled over a tire, and got upside down.
Well, it's a very small racetrack, so all the leaders stayed out. So it's going to be interesting to see. About the first 10 cars stayed out. Some of the others, like I said, made a pit stop, try to get an advantage and get off sequence.
Well, hopefully we can get back to racing and get some type of a pattern going here at Richmond, Virginia. So as you ride along now with Scott Dixon, who's back in the 4th position. And there is the great Rahal 06 in front of him. Now, again, if Rahal has a problem and does something like Foyt just did, he didn't have another car. He didn't have a road race car for next week. That crew's going to get that car ready in about 3 days.
Yeah. So let's take another look at this. You see, John's down as far as he can go. Foyt thought he was going to clear him, thought he was going faster than he really was, thought he had him cleared, and just pulled down and ran into his left front.
go back to racing, see if we can get some rhythm and have some period of green flag competition here at Richmond. Wow. Oh, look at Castro Evans.
Wow, he is on a tear. Went right around the outside. And coming off of 2 is the tightest place in this racetrack. He went around him coming off of turn number 2. That's unbelievable to get by with that, number 1. Oh, and look at that. He got moved up a little bit there by Servia as he went on the outside. Servia entered a little higher, and he just went on by him.
Well, if this were driving school, you'd tell these guys you can't pass on the outside.
Wow. Pastor Nevis just really on a tear, and he's got that thing working well enough that he's made some passes on the outside that really he shouldn't be able to do.
Well, Castro Evans had been in the top 5 with all the races except for last week when he finished 14th. And after that miserable qualifying effort last night, he has something that he wants to prove. We want to hear momentarily from A.J. Foyt. Graham Pettigo is going to catch up with young Anthony.
Well, right now, Castro Nevis is the guy to watch. I mean, he has been on a tear, and he seems to do a lot of it right after the restarts. Now, right now, he's not gaining a whole lot on the guys in front of him. He made 2 really
Marty,
good laps.
I'm here with a disappointed A.J. Foyt the 4th. A.J., can you walk us through what happened out there?
You know, it's tough to really tell in the replay. I don't know if maybe I came down on him or maybe he should have waited for another corner to try to get me. I mean, it seemed pretty close, whatever happened. But the most important thing is, you know, it's disappointing for the Lilly team, and all my guys worked so hard and such an early night for us to go out. I mean, we had a pretty decent qualifying run, and we thought we had a good car to race with today. So just unfortunate for Lilly and my team that we're already out of the race.
To make things worse, he collected teammate Ed Carpenter, who's with Vince Welch.
Ed, how did you get collected in that incident?
AJ was up at the wall and had to go low to avoid him, and his attenuator was bouncing down the track and just bounced right into my right front suspension and collapsed it all. So we're trying to fix it. You know, there's been so many yellows earlier. Hopefully we can get back out and maybe pick up a couple points, you know, try to turn this second half of the season around. We just haven't been able to get anything going, just bad luck. So trying to get the Menards car back out there and, you know, take advantage of somebody else's misfortunes maybe.
The attenuator is the piece on the rear of the gearbox that absorbs some of the impact if a car goes into the outside wall backwards. But it's a pretty heavy piece of equipment to run over it.
Yes, it is.
Look at Camara. He's moved up 12 positions. Fatherhood must be agreeing with him.
Yep, son Luca, born last week. But, yeah, and Jamie Camara has not been one of the greatest oval track guys on the circuit of all the new guys. But here tonight, he seems to have things dialed in as he's really moved up well.
Once again, Kanaan has led all 49 laps. Marco Andretti has run 2nd from the starting green. Rahal has run 3rd, Dixon 4th, Weldon 5th. So basically, as we've heard before, this track's very difficult to pass on, except for Castro Nevis, who's come from 18th to 8th.
Well, look at this, Townsend Bell. He's come from 21st, and now then Camara's trying to get around him.
This is the best action on the racetrack, and he makes the pass on the low side.
Wow. So Jamie Camara really
up to 11th position. Bell is now 12th. John Andretti, after that altercation, remains in 13th position. Junqueira's 14th. Hunter Ray has come from the back of the pack to run now in 15th.
Look at this. This is Briscoe. He's behind now, and looks like he's going to go to the inside. We'll see if Briscoe gives him room. Well, he didn't have much choice.
He's getting gutsy. Let's see how long this happens before he loses control.
Yeah, well, right now he's putting on the show out there as he's passing on the inside and the outside.
So he's up to 10th position now.
That's Servia right in front of him. So
for starting 24th.
So
Servia's no slouch on an oval.
He's been running very well. He was pretty happy with the way things have gone all weekend. I talked to some of these crew guys, and he's pretty happy with it.
There's a look at Dixon, who has yet to lead a lap. You only need to lead 85 laps this evening to get to 2,000. I think only 4 other drivers in the IRL history have led 2,000 laps.
Well, right now, Rahal's running pretty good and you know, holding off Dixon. I think Dixon right now is real happy just to sit there running 3rd. He's not really going to go up there and challenge him. Although Weldon behind him has fallen back several car lengths. I think he is off the pace a little bit compared with Dixon.
Well, it's interesting that Camaro, who is so quick, he's in 10th position. It's only been 21 laps since his pit stop, so he's some 34 laps ahead on pit strategy than the guys in front of him.
Well, and that might be one of the things that's helping him. The fresher tires might be giving him an advantage here over the guys that have been out there all the time. Although some of the others, like Danica Patrick, she hasn't moved up. She's still back in 17th. They haven't helped her much.
Now we saw Dixon. He is some 3 seconds behind the leader. Kanaan has led all 57 laps. You go on board now with Dixon, who's back in 4th. His teammate Weldon is in 5th. Rice having the best ride so far of the season for Buddy. He's back in 6th position.
Yeah, they picked up a new sponsor this week, and he was fast all week long here. I mean, he was in the top almost all the time. Ooh, look at this. Camara again trying to get around Townsend Bell.
Well, he got around him once, but Bell went back around. Let's watch again. Oh, he got the air taken off the nose.
Yep. When Serbia came down,
he almost got the wall.
He's lucky he didn't get in the fence right there.
He lost 2 positions back to 12th. That was a case where he had the air taken off the front wing and the car pushed up to the outside of the wall.
Yeah, nothing he could do there except just try to keep it out of the wall, which he did, but it was pretty close. So, good job by him. But Serbia, he was, he just came down across the front of him and took out air off the front of the wing. And car took off. That's
well, there's Kanaan enjoying a 1-second advantage now over his teammate Marco.
Well, they're coming up on some lap traffic, so we're going to find out shortly if this car is going to work. He's had pretty much an open track, no wind to bother him, no turbulent air, so we'll find out now.
He's got Vizo right in front of him, and then right in front of Vizo is Vito Mira, who on 2 occasions finished 2nd here. 2 of his 8 second-place finishes, and that's got to be a heartbreak for that young man to finish 2nd 8 times and get so close. He finished 2nd at Indianapolis. I guess he had to finish 2nd at racetrack. That's a pretty good payday. Yeah. $1.2 million he won at Indianapolis. And there's a look at Marco going to the inside of Vizo.
Vizo's just staying out of the way. He moved up the racetrack, let those guys go. Didn't even try to race with them.
On board with Muto. Another of the Andretti green entries.
He's back in 7th place. Castroneves right behind him.
So Castroneves has gone from 18th to 8th. Camara's gone from 24th to 12th. And Hunter Ray has gone from 25th to 15th.
Yeah, he hasn't really put as many moves on the racetrack as I thought he might, though. He's been pretty cautious out there and hasn't gone forward near as fast as the likes of Castroneves. As you can see, still the first 5-6 guys all within the one straightaway of each other, just kind of coasting along right now.
Is this a race, Larry, where you just keep your nose clean and let the track come back to you?
Well, I think that's exactly what's going on now, especially for guys like Dixon and Weldon. Those guys back there, they're just kind of taking it easy. Marco, he's kind of taking it easy right now. The guy, Castroneves, once he got into 8th, he wasn't near as nervous about it as he had been before because he knew that he still had a long time to go to make up those last 8 spots. Look at this. Rahal lost a little bit of the wind off the front end now. He might lose a position because of it.
Couldn't get the job done.
Well, that was strictly a case of Dixon. He didn't want to crash.
Another yellow, this one for Debris, the 4th of the evening on lap 69.
Dixon had a shot at that, and he could have stuck his nose in there. Early in the race, didn't want to lose the points.
The yellow light came on, too. That may have been a difference.
It might have been. He might have seen that before he backed out. Now then you're going to see some wholesale pit stops. You're going to see a lot of these guys heading for the pits now because, they're within the pit window area that they probably have to make a pit stop in the next 20 laps.
Probably,
anyway.
Larry, the first, I would say 11 will go in. It's been 57 laps for Bell, and he's in 11, so probably Camara. It's been 34 laps since his last stop. He may have the lead.
Yeah, and it might pay off. Camara and Manning and Patrick and those people who pitted earlier, they may be all up front in front of these guys, and then you're going to see
some interesting racing.
Yeah, because there are going to be a bunch of slow cars up there trying to get or a bunch of fast cars trying to get around a bunch of slow cars, and it could be very interesting.
They'll open the pits, and at least the first half of the field will lead to the pit lane.
And you might see some of those guys stay out there and take a chance. Who knows? But I would think that most of them are going to come in and take advantage of this. I'd say just about everybody will.
Well, we saw him last week go a lot longer than what we thought. Weldon stretched out 90 laps last week at Iowa.
They might take a chance that they can probably run because of all the yellows. They might be able to run to 110 laps. Yeah, they might be able to.
Yeah, let's see what the strategy is.
I don't think
they're headed for the pit lane.
Most of them aren't going to take the chance.
So let's see who stays out and who's going to assume the top spot.
Well, track position being so important. We always talk about how important the pit stops are, but they're certainly important here. And these are very small pit boxes, only 39 feet. It's the second smallest pit box we have on the whole circuit. And we had people actually practicing getting in and out of the pits because the pit boxes are so short here at Richmond.
Rahall's underway at 8.6. Marco at 9.5, and a good stop for Tony Kanaan at 6.7.
Ooh.
And almost a demolition derby at the pit out.
Yeah. And Dixon, I don't know what happened to him.
Lost a ton of positions.
He lost a ton of positions back there. So Castroneves, he got 6 spots on that thing as he pulled right out in front of Marco. Marco lost a spot, but look at that. Dixon lost 5 positions. So that was really a bad pit stop for him.
Camaro will lead on the restart with Danica Patrick in second. Tony Kanaan now will be third, then Castroneves. And look at Dixon. Dixon all the way back in 11th, and that pit stop's very uncharacteristic of that organization.
Obviously, there was some sort of a miscue there with somebody because he lost 5 spots. Castroneves, I don't know what he did to gain 6 spots, but one thing he did is pull out in front of Marco and almost make contact. Yeah.
Now here's the pit out. Nope, we didn't have the shot we thought we were going to have there. Live coverage of a yellow-plagued 300-lap event here at Richmond International Raceway. Rice. Danica getting ready for this restart. They're going to put Ed Carpenter back in the cockpit. So you heard Ed say they're going to try to get this car back in the race because of so many yellows. He could still pick up some points here this evening.
Yeah, he could. They've only run 76 laps, so they'll run until. That's good work for those guys. That's a tough thing to do at this.
But I tell you what, it takes guts on the part of the driver to go out there and stick that thing in the corner and hope that everything holds.
Look at Danica. Marty Roth blocks her.
No start this time, no start. Yeah, Marty moved down and blocked her. Still have something to say about that because Marty is now, 4 laps off the pace?
Yeah.
He's back in 22nd position, 4 laps back. And he's down blocking Danica.
His spotter needs to tell him either go to the bottom or go to the top.
Get the heck out of the way.
And, they need to communicate with Danica which way he's going to go so she'll know where to go.
Now, this is the first time that Jamie Camara, at least in the Indycar series, has had the lead on a restart. Camara tested in 07 with Andretti Green here. Finally, Marco's on the way. And then making a sandwich out of him. A spin right away. That looks like Buddy Rice. Buddy Rice. Oh, no. What a way to wreck a weekend. And look at this.
Well,
Junqueira is also involved.
There was some contact there, obviously. Uh-oh, look at this. Briscoe was in the middle of that. So the restarts are really beginning to take their toll.
We're not doing it out here, Sean. We're not doing anything of that sort out here. Wait, what the hell is that? Jesus.
Obviously.
We're not responsible for comments from the cockpit, but we'll take a look at that restart and see who actually triggered that. Junqueira involved, Rice involved, and Briscoe involved.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think any of those cars are going to be going very much farther.
All right, let's watch the replay and see if we can see what happens here, Larry.
Oh,
he got tapped from the back. Looks like Briscoe tapped. Well, that was Manning. Manning was involved. Mira was involved. Can we go back and take a look at that again? It looked like Briscoe came up and hit somebody from the back.
Yeah, I think that.
Or somebody didn't get a very good restart and got tapped from the back. It may have been Manning that didn't get a good restart.
I think he came up and hit. Oh, it's Junqueira got tagged first, it appears, and then those other guys were in the back farther, and they were all kind of getting tagged up back there. I don't know. Is Buddy Rice?
I don't know. Rice looked like he was by himself.
Hard to tell which one of those. Everything happened so fast. Hard to tell what was happening where on the racetrack.
Well, there was Rice by himself.
Yeah,
something happened behind him.
Yeah, all the other action happened. His accident was all by himself.
He may have spun. Somebody may have checked up, seeing him spin. Let's take a look from Muto. Well, that's Rice.
Yeah, that was Rice, and that was Muto, and that was way ahead of everything else that would happen in the back.
Here's Dixon. Let's see what his vantage point shows us.
Wow.
Well, that's Rice again. We're going to get into here from Ryan Briscoe.
Well, Ryan Briscoe, he pulled the car back behind the wall. It's going back to the garage area. Ryan, what happened from your side?
I don't know what's going on when we're calling green, and everyone gets on the brakes. I don't know. I mean, whoever's up there starting the race in the car, I don't know what they're doing, but, you know, we got to be...
Let's take a look at the replay and see if you can get an idea of it here.
Dixon hadn't taken off.
Looks like you got into the 14 and it was an accordion effect.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I was heard go in the mirror on the radio, and all of a sudden we got there and everyone's on the brakes, and I just got in the back of Darren, and then that was it. Then I got collected when I was going slow, and hey, it's a real shame. You know, this is our home track, and really wanted to do well here, and you know, it's a real bummer.
Let's check in with Brianne Pettigo for someone else that was involved in that altercation. Bree?
Jack, a frustrated Buddy Rice. What a promising start, not a great finish. What happened out there?
I don't know. I think I screwed up. I think that's just what it comes down to right now. I don't know. Our car was running good. It seemed to be good on the longer runs. We weren't quite what we need to be initially, but I don't know. I think I just probably flat screwed up. I don't think I got hit or anything, so it's just it's disappointing for Brian Reinbold and the roll coater car. I mean, we could have had a really good night tonight, and I don't know, kind of seemed to throw it away.
We're taking a look again. If you want to take a look in the playback screen over there, what exactly you were going through at this moment?
I mean, it's just on the restart. Tires are cold a little bit, and I was just trying to make sure I kept up. And I know the yellow all came out at the same time. There's something going on behind us, but that had nothing to do with it. So that's the way it goes.
I was going to say that perhaps they were checking up, seeing the yellow come back out, but it looked like when he started around, that other altercation already started.
Yeah, it already started. So the first
Manning didn't pick up the throttle, and he got hit in the rear by Briscoe.
Yeah, but Dixon was in front of him. Manning almost ran into Dixon, and I'm not sure who was in front of Dixon, but that whole thing, it might have been Muto, but all of those cars, none of them picked up the throttle, and the farther back it went, you can see the mirror was involved in that too, because he banged into somebody back there when they were spinning. It might have been Manning. So a lot of cars damaged in that.
I didn't notice. Is there a full moon out tonight?
I don't know, but there should be, man.
You know, and I'm not laughing about that. You and I have done these races long enough to know when there's a full moon out, these drivers can get real crazy, and some very unusual things can happen. We've noted that over 19 years of working together. You see that Camaro started 24th position, almost in the back row. He's up to the lead. Patrick started 14th. She's up in second. All right, we thought we were going to get the green that time. We're going to go one more lap, and we'll see what kind of a restart these two drivers can get. And the fresher tires, of course, are the guys back there in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Should get the green this time by. And immediately Tony Kanaan goes to the inside of Patrick. Three wide. Look at Castro now. That's on the outside.
And he lost the spot by doing that. But he was way on the outside.
And another wreck. Vito Mira, who you said was involved in that other one, and John Andretti.
Wow. We had 34 total laps of caution all last year, 33 the year before that.
We're over 50 now.
Over 50 before we reach the 100 lap mark.
Well, we mentioned that this could be John's last ride in this car. They need sponsorship. They need even more sponsorship now.
Yeah, Ronnie said he was fine. Info. Yeah, he just got it a little too deep there.
Somebody got a little too deep. So we'll see.
Well, you said that Mira was involved in that last altercation. Could that car have been damaged in some way?
It very well could be. That was my first thought too when I saw him sitting up there before I saw that they'd made contact with that other car. But it still could have had something to do with that, because he did he did run into somebody on that last yellow.
All right, let's look at this replay, Larry, and see if we can determine what happened, or perhaps something was wrong with the number 4 car. As you see, the man that's finished second here twice walk away from his car.
Yeah, it's putting the oil dry down there. I think that's water that's coming out and running down the racetrack.
45-year-old John Andretti, second oldest driver in this race. Now let's take a look at this restart, the replay.
Well, you can see it was exciting everywhere. A lot of people to the outside, to the inside. Look at Castroneves, 3 wide. That's unbelievable.
And not recommended here.
No, and it didn't work out for him either as he lost spot.
Marco went on by him.
Now then.
But we didn't really see what happened at the back of the pack.
Oh, John Andretti.
John drilled him.
You're
yeah,
right.
That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. Something breaking. I don't think Mira's car. He just got drilled in the back.
No, I think John had a little brain fade right there. One of the few times we've seen that. But he certainly just went in there way too hard, and didn't have the room to make the corner or get under Mira, and took them both out.
John has some distant relatives watching in the Trieste, Italy area, where his dad Aldo and Uncle Mario were born. Some very distant relatives, because most of the clan now live in the Indianapolis area, except for Mario and Michael. They're in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Well, you know, Larry, I'm scratching out the guys that are out of competition, and we can put Carpenter back in the race. He's back in this race, but I tell you what, we're going to have less than half the field left here for too long.
Yeah, it's going to be.
And Elio, I mean, if you were a driving instructor and you had a young driver that pulled what he did, you'd pull him aside and have a conversation with him.
Well, that was
to go 3 wide here.
Well,
I know he's experienced.
Well, and he's made it work every time up till that time. He's gained spots on every restart up till that one. He lost one to Marco that time. 3 wide,
cold tires.
But you remember he passed on the outside earlier in that same exact spot. It was just that
those tires were warm.
He wasn't. There was a restart, so it was the exact same situation. This time though, he was 3 wide instead of 2 wide.
What I'm saying to you, if he were a young driver, you'd call him aside and say, "Don't be pulling that stuff."
Well, I don't know.
He's got the experience, and he's making it work.
If Ray Hall had done that, yeah, probably somebody would have said something. You're right.
Go back to the pit lane. We're talking to too many drivers this evening before this race is over. Let's go to the pit lane.
Behind us, trying to fix your race car. Will you be able to get back out tonight?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we will, especially seeing as a couple of guys have gone out there just a few laps after us. So, yeah, just a shame, really. I mean, it's pretty pathetic how the guys are driving out there on the restarts. I mean, we've seen it the last few races now, and, you know, Brian needs to step in. You know, we're supposed to be professionals, and everybody's checking up and trying to get massive advantages. You see Andretti crash into the back of Vito. It's pretty stupid to call ourselves professionals, really, how things are going on. Nothing that we can do. Some of the guys at the back of the field there, Briscoe, I feel sorry for Ryan. You know, he ran into the back of me. I nearly ran into the back of Dixon, which would have been terrible. 3 best mates crashing out of the field. I mean, it's just symptom of poor officialdom, I believe. You know, they've got to do something about it. But you know, it's just a shame. You know, the 14 car, the ABC car, going out like this in this race. That we were trying to get back on track after a couple of bad races. But we were showing good. We were up to 12th place from 22nd on the grid, and car felt pretty good. We were making some good strategy calls and changes to the car. So feeling a bit happier, but just disappointed to go out so early.
Got some frustrated drivers down here, Vince.
One with George Klotz handles the strategy for Tony Kanaan. Started on the pole tonight, currently second. You pitted at lap 172, or at lap 72. With all the yellows, how's this affecting the fuel strategy? Could you possibly make it on just one more stop?
I mean, it gets close.
Driver who's never led a race before. How has his pace been from Tony Kanaan's perspective as we've tried to do some restarts here?
Yeah, I mean, Tony, I think, is a lot quicker than him. And, you know, hopefully Jamie will do us a little favor here. And him and Tony are buddies anyway, so hopefully he'll keep that in mind on this restart here.
Yeah, Tony Kanaan, a mentor for Jamie Camara, and we'll see how friendly he is here.
We talked about A.J. Foyt not being here. I want to go back to last week. the radio communication between Darren Manning and AJ, Darren said the car was not steering. There was some indication that Manning was just getting tired, and Foyt, we can't say what Foyt said. He said, bring it in and park it. And then during an attempt to do an interview, every other word was one that we would have to bleep. And so I'm wondering if Foyt just said, I'm not going to Richmond.
Well, I think that's what Manning was trying to do, was explain to him that they were doing pretty well this week.
The restarts, talking about Danica's problem with the restarts.
Yep. And here it is again.
That's that last restart.
You see Coyne goes to the inside.
Castroneves goes to the high side.
Yep. Castroneves just was way too wide. He shouldn't have been there, but she evidently was just entering the corner so slow he didn't feel like he had any choice but to try to go on around her.
Well, he does have a head of steam right here. He'd have to back out the throttle. He couldn't go low. He couldn't turn the car across the bottom of her. He'd lose all the air off the front wing.
He's very lucky, though, he didn't get in the fence right here, because he was way up in no man's land.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Well, they're bringing her in. This is interesting pit strategy.
I'm not sure.
She's gone 31 laps since her last stop.
She's gone more than that.
Okay, you're all clear. Cleared in the middle.
That's right. She's going 68 because she was in the same as Camaro. She goes 68 laps.
Watch the exit. Still there.
So she's still off sequence, but
clear.
Very interesting. This is going to turn out to be a fuel strategy race by the end.
Or attrition.
Yeah, or attrition. You're right, because everybody's. Nobody. I don't know how many laps they've run.
Vitor Miramarty. Vitor, you're very clear about what happened out on the racetrack. Tell us.
Well, everybody was really having a hard time in restarts, and I restarted clean and went to turn 1, and John Andretti hit me from behind, and again, everybody's trying to gain position. He was really apologetic about it, and but the fact is that the Delphi National Guard car is out of the race, and now we're going to have to rebuild the car and go to Watkins Glen, which has been a good track for us, and we're going to get it there.
Take a look at this replay for us and see if you can walk us through what happened.
And once more, everybody was having a tough time there, and as you can see, he slowed down, and basically he didn't. That's what it happened. I slowed down like everybody else, and he didn't. And again, he made sure to apologize, and again, he's a gentleman right there, and that's how it should be.
You'd expect that from John Andretti. If John felt he made a mistake, he's the class act. He's going to say, hey, I screwed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was...
it doesn't help rebuild the race car, but...
No. I wonder if they're having trouble with engaging the fuel.
So did Danica get a full load of fuel that time? They're pointing up to the gauge. There may be a fuel problem on number 7.
Maybe that's the reason they came in, is because they didn't think they got a full load of fuel the first time. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
She's going to restart Larry back in 14th position.
Well, we'll see.
15 drivers on the lead lap. Where's Castroneves going?
I don't know.
Well, the pace car's still out there.
Yeah, it's going to be the next time around, but Castroneves was still, I'm not sure why he was coming up so hard on the bottom of the racetrack. They're still working on that thing. They might have put a new end on that hose. Here they come.
All right, let's see what Jamie can do on this restart if he gives his old buddy room. And he does. Or maybe he doesn't.
He didn't give him very much, as Coyne had to get out of the throttle and let it go.
Coyne almost lost second position to Marco. And look at Marco on the outside. Well, so much for the old Brazilian buddies taking care of each other.
Yeah, Marco and Coyne don't need to make contact again either. Those two guys have already had enough problems this year without something else going on. So Carpenter back there, he's having all kinds of problems with that car. They didn't get a very good setup on it after.
That's got to be a scary ride for him right now.
Yeah, he almost caught the fence coming off the corner there.
Well, we've not even gone halfway. We've had 64 laps of yellow. The most we ever had was in 02. We had 94 laps of yellow. We could surpass that here this evening.
Jamie Camara doing a very nice job out front. It doesn't seem to be all that much slower than the guys behind him. They're not up there.
He did test here a couple of years ago for Andretti Green. We thought he might have a spot on that team, and who knows if Coyne would leave, that might open up a spot for him. Now Coyne looks to the inside, bottoms out, the sparks fly. Jamie's not giving him any room to make that pass.
No, he's definitely faster. Oh, there he goes. He goes to the top now. Maybe Coyne will give him the opportunity to go under him.
Well, he still has to be very careful, though.
Yep. Coyne's,
it's just the groove he's running.
Yeah, it's just the groove he's running out there on the outside. And Coyne, even though he's quicker, hasn't found a way to get around him yet.
Third is Marco. Castroneves back in fourth position. Well in his fifth. Serbia sixth.
Oh, look at this.
And look at this on the inside. There goes Marco going by his teammate, and he had to get on the throttle and just let him go.
Yeah, he thought better of it, just let him go on. As Marco had the inside track. He didn't get through turn 4 very well. Marco got a good run off turn 4. They just went on by him.
Dixon all the way back in 9th position. Our points leader. Not having a real good night. Hunter Ray now is in 10th after starting at the back of the pack.
Well, whatever happened on that pit stop, he's never recovered from it because he hasn't passed anybody. He must have been running just about as fast as he could run. Look at this.
Marco trying to be the third leader of the evening, and he does so.
And Camaro did not give him much room either. I mean, he stayed right on the outside, tried to race him off the corner, and couldn't do it. So Marco earned that because Camaro did not give in. He didn't back out. He stayed on the outside and raced him through that corner. And fortunately, both of them came out the other side okay.
Well, Marco leads for the first time this evening. Coyne led the first 70 laps. Camaro took over on lap 71 when Coyne made his pit stop. Marco just took the lead on lap 116. Once again, 50 laps have been added to this event. And we go 300 laps this evening. And Camaro says, I want that lead back.
Man. He looked very loose coming off of 2, but he stuck that nose down in there.
And that's Marty Roth out in front of him in the black 25 going way slow.
Oh, man, he almost caught Camaro.
Coyne makes it safely by. Castroneves back there, and there's Castroneves in fourth position. Wellman behind him in fifth. Serbia having a good solid ride back in sixth. Rahal, the rookie. Graham Rahal in seventh. Eighth is Muto. Dixon ninth. Hunter Ray is 10th. Arias is 11th. Vizo is 12th. Then it's Bell, Patrick, and Wilson. Those 15 cars are on the lead lap. Now Roth just got lapped to get his 5 laps back. And the rest of them are... they've only listed a few of us out because they're still working with the cars in the pit lane or back in the garage area.
Yeah, you hate to say something like this, but Marty Roth should be in the way. He's in the way. He's going to cause a problem. They need to get him off the racetrack. He's going to either keep up somewhat or he's going to have to park that thing because he's just running very slow right now.
He's right now moving chicane, as we like to say. As you right along with Castroneves back there in the fourth position. We've only gone 121 laps. Richmond Indy Challenge expanded by 50 laps this evening. This little D-shape. Well, in this country, a small track like this we call a bull ring. In North America, this is a bull ring. Most of them dirt, but I think this qualifies.
Yes, and you're right. You quoted Eddie Cheever as he said about 3 or 4 years ago. It's like trying to fly a jet fighter inside of a gymnasium, and that's kind of what this is like. I mean, it's a very small racetrack. Not much room for errors. We've seen many times tonight. You make a small error, it turns into a big error, and takes out 2 or 3 other cars.
Larry, as a driver, let me ask you this. Is it not easier to negotiate Indianapolis, although higher speeds, the longer straightaways, you can rest just a bit? There's no room to rest here, and the visibility is not very good here.
Well, it's not very good, but it's, it just depends on the driver. I mean, you have to adapt. You got to run every kind of racetrack. I used to, I didn't run a lot of short tracks like this in Indy cars, but I used to enjoy the short tracks. I always thought they were a lot of fun because it was more driver than it was aerodynamics. A lot of the things like on the big 1.5 miles, big racetracks, it's, it's more aerodynamics than it is race driving.
Well, Coyne rides in third position right now after starting from the pole position, and he led the first 70 laps of this event till he made that first pit stop. And you can see the interval down there between first and second. First and third, we should say, which is 4.8 seconds, almost 5 seconds between Marco and his teammate in a yellow, another yellow on the racetrack. Oh, my. Graham Rahal.
Well, It was a tough break.
Trying to explain what happened, apparently, Graham Rahal. And remember, there's his dad, Bob, shaking his head. They don't have a backup. They've got to repair this car in the road course setup for next week at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, tough.
Not a lot of time to do it.
No, tough break for him.
That's the Newman Haas Lanigan team. The hole-in-the-wall cams. They also have a sponsorship for McDonald's, which is on his teammate's car.
He had run a very good race. He started third. He was still in the top 8 when this happened. So he was running a nice, clean, cool race. Thought he was doing a good job. Didn't seem to make any mistakes, but obviously caught up with him right there at the end.
Take a look again, Larry.
Yep,
just on his own. Just on his own, stepped out.
Just stepped out on him. Nothing.
Now this is from Muto's car. Look right ahead.
His car's getting a little loose. You can see he was loose.
Did he have any indication?
Yeah,
Can the driver feel it?
I'm sure he knew that the car was a little bit loose, but he's been running it that way. Kamar's been running his car pretty loose ever since that yellow flag. You can see it kind of outside or, sliding around the back end. So he's been running a loose race car, and you just kind of deal with it. But right there, he just got in too hard, and it got around.
Well, the pit should be open the next time by. Now, it's been 63 laps since Marco pitted, so it looks like we're probably going to have the entire field perhaps on pit road.
We'll see. Kamara definitely, I think.
Yeah, he's got 101 laps. He has to pit.
With all the yellow flag laps, these guys, boy, I don't know. I think some of these guys are going to stay out and chance it. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be an interesting pit strategy from here on in.
Well, 67 laps so far under yellow this evening, and we've only gone 135 laps. And it looks like Jamie is headed for pit lane. It looks like Marco may stay out. Everybody else is coming in.
Wow.
Interesting strategy.
Yes, it is.
Danica stays out.
Well, she made that late pit stop, so she can afford to do that.
She's only gone 33 laps since her pit stop.
164 to go. These guys will definitely have to make another pit stop. Let's see if Dixon can get in and out any better this time than he did last time.
He lost a number of positions in the last pit stop. He comes in 10th position.
Ooh.
Nope.
Castor Nevis got beat out by Weldon that time, so Weldon had a very good pit stop.
Right now, as you take a look at off-pit road, Kanaan picked up a position. Weldon picked up 2, but Camaro dropped 3. Vizo will restart in the 2nd position. That's interesting. Townsend Bell did not stop, so he will in. There's the race off pit road. Townsend Bell will restart in 3rd position. Patrick 4th.
It was very close in there, and Kanaan again almost had some contact coming out of there as he and Weldon both kind of headed for the same spot at the same time.
We have 14 drivers right now. Well, Carpenter is still out there, and he's 51 laps behind. They got Manning back out there. He's 54 laps behind. They got Briscoe. Try to get Briscoe back out there, but the ones really in contention, basically, we have 14 drivers on the lead lap is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Those are the ones that are really seriously racing.
Well, Marco's pit strategy may pay off. He can probably go another 40 laps here with all the yellows they've had, and if he could do that, and they have some yellows in the last part of the race, he might be able to do it on just one more pit stop, and I believe everybody else is going to have to also going to have to make one more pit stop.
You're right along with Elio. He'll restart back in the 7th position. We talked about that hectic schedule, the most difficult part of the schedule. 6 straight weekends on the road for the crew guys. And of course, next week, beautiful Watkins Glen. That's a favorite track for Dixon. He's won the last 3. Always enjoyed going down to Nashville, that concrete track, Mid-Ohio, and a new venue for the IRLs, Edmonton. Of course, the Champ cars have run there in the past. This will be a new venue for the Indycar series.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. 3 of the next 4 races are on road courses, so of course a lot of these guys are looking forward to that.
The transitional drivers,
as well as as well as Dixon.
Well, Dixon, Weldon,
Castor Nevis, and all those guys who really like the road courses as well.
All right, 1 lap to go. We'll try to turn them loose and go racing for some more. 73 laps now under the yellow this evening of the 141. 300 scheduled right along with Danica. She'll restart back in the 4th position. We'll see what kind of a restart she can get, Larry. There's Bell in front of her, then Vizo, and then up in front leading will be Marco.
Picking it up. Green flag. Green flag. +2 on TK. TK's looking on your inside corner. Inside. Clear.
Right away, Kanaan goes by her.
Yep. Just went down to the inside, went by Danica. Look at this.
Almost contact.
On the outside, and he got by Weldon, and Kamara did too. Kamara went by Weldon on the outside. He followed and Castanevis now going to try to go on the outside of Patrick.
And right behind him is Camara.
Wow.
Tell you what, he's learning the ropes here in a hurry, isn't he?
Boy, he is. He's learning from the master.
He's got a good teacher in Castanevis, and he goes on by the outside.
That was unbelievable. He made that look easy.
6th position. So it may have been Pitt's strategy that got him to lead, but it's not anything but hard driving that's keeping him up there right now.
Wow, that was a great job by Kamara. He just followed the lead of Castanevis. And now look at Castanevis. He's all over the back of Kanaan. He's going to go by him.
To the inside of Kanaan for 4th. 2 more cars stacked up.
Rice.
Hunter Ray and Marias.
Yeah. Wow. Boy, we've had a ton of crashes tonight. Unbelievable. And this wasn't on the restart. This is after they'd run.
Boy, he tore the you-know-what out of that car, didn't he?
Yeah,
he really tore that one up. Both drivers appear to be okay. They're moving around the cockpit, but man, look at the damage on that 17.
Yeah.
Scott Remke there in the middle.
Yeah, he's the team manager calling the shots down there.
And you see all these guys in the driving suits and the helmets. Those are the guys got to put these cars back together before we head off to Watkins Glen next week. There's Bobby Rahal. He's seen his son crash. He's seen his driver crash out.
Yeah, not a good night.
Let's watch again.
This was very similar to the A.J. Foyt thing. It looked like we couldn't tell whether Moraes went up or Hunter Ray came down, but left rear to right front contact. And
but once again, it was a safer barrier.
Yeah.
That helped those boys.
Safer barrier.
Hunter Ray still in the car. He's climbing out now.
Yeah, he's climbing out, but it was just contact as Hunter Ray either thought he had him cleared, much like Foyt did, and came down. Obviously, Moraes thinks he got Hunter Ray came down on him.
Trying to keep the two apart, and Hunter Ray wants to have a little conversation too, and now Marias, and he's trying to show him this is exactly how it happened. Yeah. Go back, look at the video. I know, I was there. I saw it. I was in the cockpit.
Yeah, bit of a disagreement there.
Oh, they're going to get in the car together now. Let's take our helmets off. No, better. Let's leave our helmets on.
Yeah, we've had a few slopping matches inside those vehicles in the past.
We're going to hear from Graham Rahal momentarily, who's out of this race in a single car crash. We're not making light of this, but it is an emotional sport, and sometimes the emotions climb high and you want to walk up and call somebody a moron or idiot and slap him upside the head.
Yeah, and you know, in the John Andretti case, he admitted he was wrong. Things were okay.
You called me an idiot one night and slapped me upside the head, and we weren't even racing.
Yeah, right. You probably deserved it, and I don't even remember it. But anyway, Marco Andretti. Now, I don't think he's going to pit now either. I mean, they get about 3 laps under the yellow for every
1 lap under green.
And so he's probably just going to stay out there and lead this thing for a while.
Well, Dixon does avail himself to the
he's
the Ganassi team for a pit stop.
Reset your.
He has not had a good night so far, and he hasn't been able to pass anybody, so they're obviously trying something different.
With all the attrition, he's in for a good finish if he can keep his nose clean.
And you know what? Remember that pass he didn't make very early in the night where he almost stuck his nose under somebody? That might be the best thing he's done all night long.
Best move of the evening.
Because he is still in the race, and a lot of those guys who pulled that kind of move are not still in the race. So
you realize, Larry, we have not even hit halfway yet.
No, I know. And so Scott Dixon.
You think next year this race will go back to 250 laps?
Well, it could. Maybe, you know, I think that was one of the things. If you only have 30 laps and it's over pretty quickly.
Can you tell us, was there any indication from the driver's seat what happened?
No, I mean, nothing. I mean, my car the whole race has been pushing like a pig, and
it's just one of those things, you know. I mean, we were struggling to stay up there. We were conserving a lot of fuel, but I got down, you know, in the middle of 3 and 4 that time, and the back end just went. And the trouble with these cars is when they go, you just can't catch them. And unfortunately, this day has just turned into a demolition derby, and I didn't want to be one of them, but here I am.
Let's take a look at this replay and see if you can see anything else.
I mean, you can see it right there. It just goes, and you know, fortunately, it wasn't too hard of a hit, but I don't know. I have to see. I don't think I touched the apron, but I might have, and it's just unfortunate.
Now, that is the car that you will be racing next week in Watkins Glen. What does that mean for your team?
Well, I mean, I feel bad for the guys, and I said at the start of the race that, you know, we had a horrible weekend going here. The guys had worked so hard. We had finally got a competitive car, competitive enough to qualify third. But unfortunately, it's going to be another hard day's work, I think, for these guys, and we'll just try to treat them with a win next weekend.
I want to clarify something. He said it was an engineering term, pushing like a pig.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's definitely something you learn in college or wherever.
I don't think he has an engineering degree.
Okay.
In fact, he's only 19. He hasn't been to college.
That's right.
Well, all you could, I mean, we shouldn't laugh because a lot of race cars are getting torn up this evening, but we almost anticipated going in that it was going to be a weird night.
Yeah, there's Tim Cindrix, and he's talking to Castroneves, and you know, they're seeing what kind of strategy they can get going here. As they've been very good. It seems like it goes in segments. This last segment, the time before he wasn't real good. This last segment, though, he appeared to be one of the fastest guys on the racetrack, as he was just getting ready to go around Canaan when the yellow flag came out.
Well, another surprise this evening is Camara, how well he has run once he got up there to front. Vizo, let's see how he can do now. He'll restart in second position. He has been spectacular at times for a driver that had virtually no oval experience coming into this year.
Right, but you know, we've talked about different guys, Hunter Ray and Carpenter and Foyt, but tonight, Camara's the guy. Camara's the guy that really has shined tonight. He's done a great job, and quite honestly, I thought he looked pretty bad all year long, but boy, tonight he is on it.
Hunter Ray has to be totally disappointed because he was so fast in practice yesterday, couldn't qualify last night because of mechanical problems, started in the back of the pack and had a pretty good ride going before he gets taken out, and hopefully we'll have a chance to visit with him. And Pettigo's getting a workout this evening. She's getting her exercise, chasing all these drivers down when they leave the infield care center.
Caught up with Ryan Hunter-Reay. First question, what was the exchange between you and Mario?
Well, I don't even know what happened. I just felt a big hit from the left rear. So I asked him, I said, what happened? He said he was beside me. And then I come in and my team says, no, he was nowhere near beside me. So I'm waiting till I see it. We had a pretty busy race car out there. I was holding my breath the whole time trying to keep it off the wall. We were going to salvage something tonight, and we didn't get to do that. So, you know, when we're in survival mode, even we get into trouble. So it's unfortunate. I think we could have come out of here today with a decent result and up in the points. But it is what it is at the moment. I'm having a great time racing these cars. I want to have some great results. I know we can do it.
Well, we have that replay for you. Let's give you a chance to take a look at it. Tell us if you see anything.
Well, I mean, I don't know. At the last moment, I heard inside, and by that point, I was hit. So I don't know. It's short track racing. It's unfortunate. I don't know. It's have to go on to Watkins Glen. Hopefully we can get them there.
It's a bull ring.
That's right. Well, I have to admit on that one, it did appear that maybe Mario came up the racetrack a little bit and caught his left rear. I thought from the first time I saw it, I thought maybe he'd kind of chopped him like Foyt did.
But at these speeds, on this track that's so small, I mean, just a little fraction can make such a big difference when you start trying to, you know, address blame or point blame. And unfortunately, we've had 83 laps of yellow this evening. Danica got pit stop. Muto, her teammate, also in. Fuel only on Dixon. Dixon came back in. That was pit strategy, to take fuel only.
Yep. Well,
so he can make it on one more pit stop.
Yeah, he might even, since he's so far in the back, he might be thinking about stroking it a little bit and hoping for a whole bunch more yellows.
Points.
And trying to, you know, make it with no more pit stops. I don't see how that's possible, but I didn't think it was possible to go 90 laps last year.
141 laps.
Well, we did
a lot of yellows.
If you remember, yeah, it depends on. It'll have to be a lot of yellows. Have to be a lot of yellows. No question about it.
Of course, those guys in the pits have something we don't have here in the booth, and that's a computer.
Right. But last week we didn't think Weldon could run 90 laps, but they had enough yellows that he did.
There's Patrick. She is now 12th position for this restart, and there are only 12 drivers on the lead lap. There's some others that are still racing, like Carpenter, who's 51 laps behind, and Manning, who's 62 behind, and Briscoe, who's almost 80 laps back. So let's just hope that these guys, that they patch the car up and stick them back out there, don't cause some trouble for somebody else.
Well, they know they're not going to do anything. They're going to ride around in Carpenter's case till there's 51 laps to go, and then he's just going to pull in because he can't gain anything after that. And the same way with Briscoe and Manning. When he gets to 79 laps to go in the race, Briscoe's got nothing to gain. He can't gain one more spot, so why would he stay out there and wear out his engine
equipment?
Anything else?
Well, get out your crystal ball, Larry. What's going to happen now?
I don't know. I think the next exciting thing that might happen will be Coyne and Castroneves with Mr. Viso up there. We'll see.
That's true. Viso will restart in the second position. Coyne third and Castroneves fourth. Then Camaro is fifth. So in the top five, you've got a pair of rookies.
Yeah. And both of them have done a good job here tonight, Camaro especially. And I think the winner is probably going to come out of that top five here tonight, unless Weldon and Dixon can get on some sort of a fuel strategy.
Unless somebody in the top five take each other out. Look at this, most 9 periods, 94 laps, and right now we've gone 90 laps, so we will surpass that. We'll get one to go at the line, so we'll see what Viso does as far as with Coyne and Castroneves trying to get by, because it'd be very easy for 2 or 3 of the leaders to take each other out in this thing.
Be interesting to see how many
Serbia's going to win this thing.
Be interesting to see how many laps Marco can go. He's gone 91 laps. With all the yellows, though, they've kind of had 30 laps of yellows since his last pit stop, maybe more than that. So he may be able to go clear up till,
Well, like I say, they've got the computers, and they can figure that out down the pits, and we're kind of at a loss here in the broadcast booth as to we didn't think Weldon could go that far last week at Iowa.
He's going to try to make it a one more pit stop.
Safely gets around Viso for second position. Now can Castroneves make the pass? No, he's getting held up now. And here comes Camaro on the high side.
Camara's not...
he's not shy, is he?
No, he isn't. He stuck that thing way up there on the outside. He tried to do it the last corner.
No, Castroneves now gets by contact right there between Camaro and Viso.
Yeah, Viso gave Castroneves room, but did not give Camaro enough room. We got a big battle back here as Dixon looks like he's all of a sudden come up through a few guys and gained a few spots.
Dixon up to 8th position, went by Townsend Bell.
Uh-oh, this could be trouble. Oh, man.
He squeezed by on the high side.
Jamie Camaro making a move that I've only seen a few times here. Saw Castroneves do it a little earlier, but man, oh man.
Serbia looks to the inside of Viso, and Weldon looked to the inside of Serbia. Thought we were going 3 wide there, Larry.
Yeah. So Weldon and Dixon both...
they're right together on the racetrack.
Nose to tail back there. So
they're back in 7th and 8th positions right now.
Well, whatever Dixon did when he came in and changed the car certainly helped that car. He's much quicker now than he was before earlier in the race.
And I bet, Larry, when this race is over, to the driver, they will tell you, I'm glad this race is over.
Yeah, it's been a tough day for the guys on the track still, and the guys who are already in the garage.
Some of the guys will tell you they enjoy short track racing, but they're not necessarily enjoying this tonight. There's Eddie Carpenter. Again, Carpenter is some 51 laps on. No, that's Viso.
That's Viso.
That's Viso. I thought it was Carpenter looking from this shot here in that yellow car. That's Viso.
Right there, you can see Dixon had the air taken off the wing, and that thing took off for the wall. So you got to be careful when you get that close to a guy in the middle of the corner. It'll take that air off and send you up the racetrack.
Well, we still have 130 laps to go in this thing. Just under 130. As you ride along with Dixon. Back there in the 9th position. His teammate Weldon got by Viso, and he couldn't. And here comes Wilson right behind Dixon. Then Bell, then Muto, then Patrick. So those 12 drivers are on the lead lap.
Wilson doing a nice job. He's just hung in there, done everything pretty smooth and pretty cool. Hasn't gotten in any trouble, so he's having a good run. They do have a second car now. The first time all year they've had a second car, and they're telling us that car is 40 pounds lighter than the car he's running now, and they're getting it ready for Watkins Glen next week.
Well, of course, we go to the Glen, one of the famous road courses in North America, the former home of the U.S. Grand Prix. There's Servey and Weldon, and that's the battle for 5th position. Of course, Scott Dixon has won the last 3 outings there at Watkins Glen. And then we go off to Nashville, that concrete racetrack down in Music City, USA, Nashville, Tennessee, and then it's on the Mid-Ohio, that nice little road course in North Central Ohio in the Midwest.
We haven't talked much about Serbia, but he's certainly done a nice job tonight. He ran good in practice all week long, the last couple of days. And then in the race, he hasn't put a foot out of place. He's been very quick. He's always been in the top 6 or 7, and now then he's up in 5th place.
And he's one of the guys that comes with a lot of road race experience, but says he enjoys the ovals.
Yeah, and he's been very quick, and I think he does like the ovals, and he's pretty confident.
He's keeping a pretty good driver right behind him too.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Serbia now in 5th and Weldon 6th. You go back on board with Weldon. That's Serbia up in front. Whoa! Really grabbed the steering wheel there.
That's Camara right in front of him. They're both, all 3 of them kind of running lockstep right now.
Kind of a breakthrough race for Camara. He started back in the 24th position. He led for a number of laps, and then finds himself in 4th position now.
You see Weldon. He's trying to figure out a place to run on the racetrack where he can get by Serbia. He's running better on the bottom, but that's where Serbia is running. He tried to move up into that second groove. When he moves up there, he's just not quite as quick as he is down on the bottom. And it looks like the car's loose up there as he keeps trying to catch it, especially coming off of turn number 4.
We lucked out weather-wise. Despite it being hot and humid, there had been some... Oh, look at that. Boy, he wiggled that time, didn't he?
Well, that's why I say that thing's been loose. He's had to catch it 2 or 3 times. That's the first time we've seen it happen off of turn number 2. But off of 4, he's had that happen a couple of times.
Started to say we lucked out the weather because there were a forecast for showers and pop-up thunderstorms this evening. And fortunately, we didn't have those. Ryan Briscoe is laboring around 100 laps off the pace right now, but they're trying to get him back and get some points. But like you say, Larry, not much use now.
Yeah, Kanan and Marco have kind of pulled away from everybody else, as those 2 guys really...
There's Briscoe back in the racetrack, but again, he is 100 laps behind.
Yeah, and
so really can't pick up anything.
It doesn't make it...
18 laps to go.
Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to be out there gained at this point, but there's a guy that does have a lot to gain. It's Marco Andretti. He's had a very good run so far.
Marco's best finish this season was a 2nd at Homestead. Of course, he finished 3rd last week in Iowa, finished 3rd at Indianapolis. But still looking for that first victory of the season. His only victory 2 seasons ago at Infineon on the road course out in Northern California. Still, that battle continues for 5th position between Serbia and Weldon. Weldon's right now just trying to hang on.
Yeah, I think so too. As Camara now is gaining on Castroneves. Castroneves not running near as good as he had been earlier. And Camara's
maybe he used up the tires of those outside passes.
He might have.
There's off Muto looking back at his teammate Danica. Now Muto's in 11th. Danica is 12th. Did not qualify at all well. This was her worst qualifying effort on an oval so far this season. It's not been a real good week for her. She's taken a lot of heat about driving from Scott Dixon and some other drivers. So obviously the league taking a look at if in fact she is blocking. But then there's a certain degree of blocking that goes on in this kind of racing.
Yeah, she's just had a tough night. She hasn't been handling all that well since she got here. She was never in the top 10 in any of the practice sessions. She didn't qualify in the top 10. Just been kind of a tough racetrack for us so far this week.
Yeah, what you're seeing right now is this battle for position between teammates, some 14, almost 15 seconds behind the leader. So it won't take long before Marco's going to be coming up to lap his 2 teammates.
Well, that's right. And oddly enough, they're first, they're running 1st and 2nd, the fastest 2 cars in the racetrack, and then the slowest 2 cars in the racetrack.
Well, not necessarily. You got Briscoe out there, and you got, but those that are on the lead lap.
Right, on the lead lap.
And you see, looking back, that yellow car, that is Carpenter. Carpenter's 51 laps behind. He's back in, but still he has 15th position, and he's 51 laps back.
Yep.
So he'll pass Hunter Ray and probably Morais, and he'll be into about a 13th position finish just by getting the car fixed and getting back out there.
Yeah.
Townsend Bell in front of these two, back to the leader. And there's the gap between first and second. There's your leader, Marco Andretti, that took the lead on lap 116. Looking for his second win of his IndyCar career. And his second front row start of the season this evening. And right behind him, his teammate, Tony Kanaan.
Yeah, both of them having a very good run here. Kanaan, very early in the race, seemed to be the fastest car on the racetrack, but Marco, that one section, he just pulled away from everybody after that one pit stop. But now he's on little older tires, and Kanaan's chasing him, but not able to catch him.
Well, third place right now is Castro Nevitz. You see a couple lap cars between second and third. Elio's back there some 4.2 seconds behind Marco in third position. You got a glimpse of his teammate, but his teammate is right now, he's way off the pace, some 100 laps back. There's Camara, and he's back there in the fourth position. A good ride for this rookie. So, of course, is a big prize for the Bombardier Rookie of the Year award, and he could certainly vie for that. Another driver that is a rookie as far as the IndyCar series is concerned, but no rookie in this type of open cockpit racing is Serbia, back there in fifth. And Serbia trying to hold off Weldon, who rides in the sixth position.
Kamara must have some problems. He pulled down to the inside, looked like.
You're right along now with Weldon back in the sixth position. And that car was skating a bit on him in the past laps. Looking back for Vizo, who's back in the seventh position. There's the green and black number 33, EJ Vizo from Caracas, Venezuela. Ernesto is his name, but he prefers to be called EJ. And there's Dixon right behind him. And I have to believe, Larry, that Dixon is in championship mode right now. Yep. He didn't have a car that's going to be real competitive. He's going to keep it clean, keep his nose out of trouble, and collect as many points as possible.
Yep. He knows he's not in any shape or manner in a position to win this race, so he's just going to try to finish.
Justin Wilson, who early in his career actually sold stock in his driving career to help finance his early racing, and now a portion of his winnings actually go to pay back the stockholders.
Well, obviously paid off for him. He's one of the best racing circuits in the whole world.
Townsend Bell in his fifth start this season. Of course, he shares that ride with the Dry Reinbold with Milka Duno. Right now he's back in the 10th position. And behind him is Muto, and he's getting a challenge from his teammate Danica Patrick. And of course all that's happening out in front of your leader Marco, so he'll be coming up to lap these two.
Yeah, that's the first time we've really seen her with a strong challenge here for a while.
And that was Marco right behind her.
So I'm sure they're being told that their teammates
get out of the way. Here comes your two teammates. There's Danica, takes a look at the inside, sticks her nose in behind him now. But here comes Marco, and right behind Marco is Kanaan. So on the racetrack, this would make a great picture, a team picture. All four cars are going to be right together here, but two of them are leading and two of them are almost a lap back.
Well, 98 laps to go, so the next pit stop probably is going to make everybody be able to go the rest of the race. So the question is, will there be a yellow so that Marco has to come in on make a green flag pit stop, or he can do it on yellow with everybody else? He's going 132 laps since his last pit stop.
But look at the traffic out in front of him.
And that may be part of the problem. The tires are very old in that car right now.
Well, they're setting up Marco's pit lane right now, so he may not make the effort to make the pass. He's gone 134 laps now since his last stop with all those yellows, and so he has to be near the edge of that pit window.
He's just got to hope. Here he comes.
Here he comes.
He's got to hope that there's no yellow after he makes his pit stop, because he's going to lose a lap And if everybody else gets the pit on yellow, it could be cost him dearly.
This track is so short he loses a lap.
Yeah, they had a little trouble in the left front there. It took him a little extra time too, so that was not his best pit stop. So he does lose a lap. Now he's got to hope that everybody else is going to have to pit on the green, because if there's a yellow now, these guys get a pit under the yellow, he's in trouble.
Well, he led 89 laps. That's the most so far this evening, but now Coyne will certainly collect a lot of laps. Still some going 213 of 300 laps here. Tony Coyne continues to lead this thing after Marco's pit stop, and he has a 3-second lead over Castroneves. EJ Vizo making his last pit stop.
-1 for front wing. Back to 3. Go.
Pit stop for the rookie.
Yep. So he'll go another lap down too. He ran 136 laps because of all the yellows. So he ran a lot of laps. So he was waiting on a yellow too, and he just couldn't wait any longer.
It's interesting that Castroneves is chopping in. He's in second. He's chopping to this lead by Coyne. You got the car of Eddie Carpenter, that yellow car there. But Carpenter's 52 laps back, and he's being shown in 13th position. But Coyne's making no effort to close in on Danica.
No, he's got behind him, and he's just kind of running there. And I'm not sure whether.
As a result, Castroneves is closing in.
Well, the bad news is, if they run him slow and Marco goes back out there with fresh tires and really makes up a lot of ground.
Another yellow.
That looks like Jamie Camara.
That's Camara up against the wall. So what had been a very promising evening for this youngster ends against the wall. 218.
Tough break for him. He had run a great race. Was very quick. Made some truly stunning moves on the racetrack, but all ended against that white concrete, and he's not happy with himself.
Well, the emotions can certainly take a 180 in a hurry, can't they?
Yeah, he's
all by himself.
Yep, just coming off of turn number 4. Back end got loose and got up into the wall, pretty much like as Bernaldi did in practice the other day, almost identical to what Bernaldi did, as a matter of fact. And you can see the frustration as he had such a great run going, and thinking, how did that happen? How did I let that happen?
He was proving to himself and everybody else that he could drive with the best of them, and had led for a number of laps. He led for some 40, 45 laps. The pits are now open, so
I still remember, they talk about these drivers and they jump out on them so quick. I remember somebody asked Steve Kinser the first time he ran Indianapolis 500. He said, "When did you know I lost it?" He said, "When I hit the fence." So I didn't know anything was wrong till then.
Yeah, well, Steve Kinser's the 14-time king of the world of outlaws, which is all dirt racing, and he was racing on pavement for one of the rare times in his life, and the biggest showcase.
Well,
in motorsport.
This is going to be the biggest pit stop for these guys of the night. Whoever comes out on top on this pit stop, Castroneves, Coyne, whoever happens to be, is going to have a huge advantage. Look at these two guys. Looks like
got it? Who got it?
Castroneves came out in second, I think. I think Coyne barely beat him.
Well, they got Coyne over Castroneves. Well, this picks up 1. Servia loses 1. And there's Muto. Well, I guess we'll cross him off the list too.
Wow.
Well, we talked about attrition.
Well, Coyne and Castroneves with Weldon out in third. That's a good run for Weldon.
And that could put Marco back in the lead after this round of pit stops. 2 positions. Live coverage from Richmond International Raceway. Of course, next week, a week from tomorrow, we head off to the beautiful Finger Lakes region of upstate New York, Watkins Glen. The U.S. Grand Prix, and like I say, the 3 of the next 4 races are on the road courses. We'll have Mid-Ohio, we'll have Edmonton, and then we'll squeeze in Nashville.
Yep.
2.4 kilometer banked concrete track. The concrete track we run on. Of course, I guess there are two other ones in the country, Dover, Delaware, and Bristol, Connecticut.
Right.
Bristol, Connecticut.
Bristol,
That's where
Tennessee.
ESPN is, Bristol, Tennessee. The other concrete tracks in the country. Now we're getting slap happy. Full moon slap happy. We've been going for 2 hours, and we've still got 75 laps to go.
Yeah, a long way to go in this race. Kanaan, Castroneves.
Here's the race off pit road, and yep, Kanaan got him. By what, 4 feet?
Yeah, it wasn't by much, but you could see when Kanaan came out, he had the momentum going. Castroneves, when he left his pit box is in front of him, but Kanaan had so much more speed by the time they got to the end of the pit lane while he had the lead. So it'll be tough. It's been tough to pass for the guys in the very front. So we'll see as Muto goes back to the pit area. Tough break for him.
Now 44% of this race has been run under yellow this evening, unfortunately.
Serbia now up in 4th place, Dixon in 5th. So, top 5 cars are the usual suspects except for Serbia. Serbia is a guy that has struggled to get up in the top 5, but he's done a good job here.
Tip your hat to Townsend Bell, too, as kind of a part-time driver. There's a look at Muto.
Yeah.
As a part-time driver, Bell for Dry Reinbold up in 8th position.
Yeah, and Justin Wilson up in 6th, so he's had a great run. And just to kind of stay out of trouble.
Let's see what the replay was there on the pit stop.
So when he took off, half shaft broke.
Broke the half shaft. Broke the left rear half shaft.
That's great camera work by our guys.
That's tremendous camera work.
No question about what happened there. He popped that thing, the half shaft just threw a few sparks, and that was all she wrote.
Well, we should get the green the next time by. So on the restarts, Kanaan, Castroneves, Weldon, Soviet, Dixon, Wilson, Patrick, Bell, and Marco Andretti. Viso then is a lap back in 10th position. And there's a look at Carpenter, Eddie Carpenter, but he's 52 laps back. 13th.
Here comes Dixon around Serbia.
So good time to pick up the spot, and Dixon moves up to 4th position. So what we said earlier about him just trying to salvage a good position, with all the attrition, he may finish the top 3 and have a podium finish.
Yeah, and he looked at Weldon right there. He had enough momentum. He thought about trying to get into Weldon going into turn 3, but thought better of it. So, he has had a much quicker car. He made a pit stop, 2 pit stops ago. Whatever they did made that car a lot quicker than it had been all day long. And I don't know what kind of change they made under that pit stop, but it was definitely helped it.
Well, Dixon did not lead last week at Iowa and did not lead at St. Petersburg. The only 2 races he's not led. Of course, he's not led here this evening.
Well, Marco's trying to make up some ground back there, but having trouble. And we talked about how much trouble it was. The passing is difficult. The turbulence is a lot of turbulence. Unless you can somehow work that outside lane, it's very tough.
Well, Brianne Pettigo, the busiest person on the
Conquest Racing. Jamie, what went wrong?
Well, the tire wear is pretty abrupt here, and the fuel, the car was getting lighter and lighter, so I was neutral every lap, more neutral, and I was trying with all with my tools inside the car to maintain the car, to the next pit stop, but I lost it on the exit of turn 4, and it's just a shame because we had a chance of a very good result. We were really fast at the track, and feel sorry for the guys.
You led your first laps in an Indycar race tonight, running with the leaders. Tell me how that felt.
That felt great. I mean, it shows that we're gaining momentum, and it's just good for the team. I just wish I could finish this race and give them a good result.
He led 45 laps. He was the second to lead. And only 3 leaders.
He certainly has nothing to be ashamed of. He did a great job. He made some great moves on the racetrack. And he showed that he's out there. But
as a race driver, he's going to live with that for a while and second guess himself and be upset with himself. And
right now, Dan Weldon has given Elio Castroneves all he wants. He looked under him down there going into turn 1 the last time. He's decided better of it, but he seems to be faster than Castroneves is right now.
Kanaan enjoying a 1.4-second lead over Castroneves, and that battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Dixon's right there as well. So So Kastranevich is second, Weldon third, Dixon fourth, then Servia. So he's about 3 seconds behind the leader. Patrick is in fourth position, and she's 3.7 seconds back. So what has been a bad weekend for Danica is starting to turn around.
Yeah. So she is having a pretty good run right now. Just kind of kept her nose clean, kept everything going, and now running in third. Dixon seems to be not able to challenge Weldon back there, but Weldon having a look at Kastranevich. Every 3 or 4 laps he gains on him, gets up close enough to make a move, and it looks like once he loses a little air in the front end, then he goes back 3 or 4 cars.
But basically what they have now is what they have to fight with.
That's it. What you got now is what you got.
What bullets you've got in your guns, what you're taking to the gunfight.
That's right. You're not going back in the pits. You're not, unless you crash or have mechanical trouble, you better hang on to what you got and do the best with it that you can.
Kanon's lead up just slightly to 1.5 seconds over Kastranevich. He came very close to the wall that time, Larry.
Yeah, but he's got a good race car. I think he's very happy with how things are going. But we thought that last week when he was running in third and
it just jumped out from under him.
And it just jumped out from under him. And we've seen that happen 2 or 3 times here tonight when the car just gets lighter as the fuel load goes away and it gets a little looser and a little looser.
Well, even if we can go the rest of the way under green, we've got 102 laps of yellow, 1/3 of the race. If it goes the rest of the way under green, 1/3 would have been under yellow. And as we said going in, we didn't know what to anticipate. There were a lot of possibilities with all the new drivers, a longer racetrack.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the new
not
drivers.
A longer racetrack, a longer race.
Right, longer race, but I'm not sure the new drivers had much to do with anything tonight. I think it was just close, hard, tight racing on everybody's part, and you know, I guess you could say maybe the new drivers didn't anticipate well enough in a couple of instances, but there was a lot of veteran drivers that had problems here tonight too.
We've had 9 caution periods. That ties the most caution periods set back in 2001, but we've had the most caution laps at 102. And we still have 55 laps to go. And their only battle right now on the racetrack is really for second position.
Right. Everybody else is
kind of settled in. Also, you got Kastranevich riding in second. Weldon is third. Dixon is fourth. Then Servia. Patrick is sixth. Tony Kanaan continues to lead this thing. He led the first 70 laps and then took over on lap 206.
Yeah, Patrick back there following Servia. I thought maybe she might get up there and challenge him, but so far she has not. She's just kind of been riding back there. And Marco Andretti, once he fell back to 9th, he has not gained 1 spot after the green flag. So he's not. It just shows you how important it is to be out front in clean air. When you're stuck back there behind a bunch of cars with dirty air, it makes it so much more difficult to get around anybody, and that's what Marco Andretti's finding out right now.
And that's Briscoe, I believe, out in front. Yeah, it's Briscoe, who's 101 laps off the pace, so he might as well park that thing now.
Well, he's just motoring around, and he'll stay out of everybody's way. He's not going to get anybody in any trouble, but right now, Weldon, like you said, he's hanging on to Kastranevich, but he's not really been able to get up there and challenge him.
But I don't know, I talk about Briscoe parking. I'm not sure he can pick up any.
He might not be able to at this point.
He's 101 laps down. Unless Manning should fall out or Carpenter should fall out, he might be able to pick up something. But he might be able to pick up 1 position if Manning falls out. There's 49 laps to go, and he's 50 laps behind Carpenter, so he might pick up Manning if Manning should fall out.
Well, right now, Kastranevich just trying to hang on. He'd like to have a good second place finish for his point standings. He and Dixon both need to finish this thing. Kanaan needs to finish it for an entirely different reason, because he's had such a bad luck year. He needs to put a win in the win column here tonight. And so far, he's done everything right in order to make that happen.
Last Sunday at Iowa, we saw some blistered hands and some banged up elbows. I have to believe we're going to see more of the same this evening.
Yeah, there's
some tired drivers when this thing's over.
It's a very demanding racetrack. With 90-some laps in the yellow, that helped him, but still, it's a very, very demanding racetrack, both mentally and physically.
Now, Kastranevich, you look back at Weldon. There's the interval between the two, and that's the battle for second position. There's Weldon back in third. He was a winner last week at Iowa.
Yeah, seems like Weldon gains on him through 3 and 4. And then in 1 and 2, Castroneves pulls away a little bit from him. So down in 3 and 4 is where Weldon's making up all his time on him.
Castroneves is second in point standings by virtue of his consistency this season. In fact, last week was the only race he finished out of the top 5.
Oh, it was Briscoe who's pulled to the inside.
Out of the way. There's Serbia, who's back in 5th. Briscoe's just getting out of the way, letting everybody go by and not trying to impede anybody's progress.
That's good. Yeah, Serbia's
best finish was a 5th at Long Beach, but that was the day that we went to Monterey or to Motegi. So Serbia's best finish in this season with these guys would be 6th at Milwaukee. Right now he's running in 5th position.
Well, Danica Patrick right behind him, trying to put some pressure on him, but Serbia running a good race. He likes these short tracks. He's very comfortable on these. Like you said, he finished well at Milwaukee. He's run good here. And he ran pretty good last week at Iowa, too.
It's a good-looking race car also. I think it's a great paint job. Kevin Kalkoven, the owner of that race car. You see the Briscoe once again. There's Wilson back in 7th position, so he's having a good ride this evening. And there's Marco, who is back there in 9th.
Yep. Marco's still trying to get around Townsend Bell. He's been following him ever since the restart and just hasn't been able to do anything with him.
Wilson's best finish was a 7th at Milwaukee, so he's trying to equal that this evening. That's where he is. He's the top rookie driver, and there's Briscoe headed back to the pit lane, and since he probably can't make up anything, you think this is a pit stop, or he's going to park it for the evening?
Yeah, I'm guessing he's just going to say that.
I think he's going to park it. I see no tires there, and they're not going to refuel it. He can't gain really any more position, so they're just going to park it and get him out of the way.
Yeah, so Townsend Bell holding off Marco Andretti. So Marco Andretti, even after that last pit stop, looks like the car isn't handling as well, or it's just not handling as well in the traffic as it was when he was out front.
Well, we talked before, I think, that it's been 44 races since anybody besides a driver for Penske, Ganassi, or Andretti Green has won a race. And that was Scott Sharp at Kentucky back in 2005. And right now, the top 4 positions are from those teams.
Right. And you can see the Weldon, he looks down this front straightaway. He gets through 3 and 4, and he looks trying to figure out a way to get far enough underneath Castroneves to make him get
Look
in
how
room.
far that head leans.
Yeah. Well, that's just from being tired. I mean, they've got those headrests in there, but
you need a Burka lounger in a race this long on a short track like this.
Weldon doesn't like the outside. We've seen Cat. He didn't like the inside right there. That thing wiggled.
Go by Carpenter.
And Carpenter just got out of the way. He let Dixon, Weldon, and Castroneves all 3 go by him.
With Muto out and Camara out, Carpenter just trying to pick up 2 positions and move up to 11th overall when this thing finally ends. This is becoming a marathon.
Yes, it is. 33 laps to go. Tony Kanaan seems to have things well in hand with a 3.5-second lead right now.
Yeah, it's pretty much status quo around this racetrack because we thought we might have a battle for second position between Castroneves and Weldon, but Weldon has not found a spot that he can maintain the momentum and go by.
No, it's increasingly tough to pass. We saw earlier Camara and Castroneves especially making some terrific moves on the outside, but most of those were right after a restart when the tires were cold and you had a little advantage or disadvantage. But once the tires got hot, we haven't seen anybody really doing much. And then we right along with Dixon. That's Manning on the inside, just trying to stay out of the way.
Dixon once again back in 4th position. This would be good for points. Because right now, Kanaan will get, if he should win this thing, the 50 points for winning plus the 3 bonus points for leading the most laps. And, of course, Kanaan coming into this race. Let's see where he was in the point standings. Kanaan in the point standings.
Well, he's had a good run. I tell you, Dixon's going to be real happy to get through this thing and run in 4th place. He's had a bad night. Hasn't been real competitive all night long. And I think he's going to be extremely happy just to bring that thing home in one piece, especially with all the crashes and all the near misses and all the debris all over the racetrack and everything else that could have put him out of the race.
Well, Coyne cannot pick up a spot in the point standings. He's back in 4th right now, but he's 100 points behind Scott Dixon. So with the breakdown, he'll pick up a few points, but not pick up a position. But this will do wonders for the morale after his crash last week to come back and gain the pole. And if he can pull off this win here in the next 27 laps.
Well, he's been really quick. He was quick last week. He was quick just about. He's been quick several times here this year, but just hasn't been able to bring it home for whatever reason. And right now he's just pulling away from everybody.
He's on cruise control right now because he's almost 5.5 seconds up over Castro Evans. And Castro Evans has picked up another second over Weldon. So really there's no competition. I don't like to say it like that, but there's no battle out there for a position right now.
He's really got that thing on cruise control. You're right. He's just got that thing going. He's thinking right now to himself, man, just don't make a mistake. Don't be stupid like you were last week. Just take it nice and easy. The thing's feeling so good that he's just, the easiest time a driver has in a race car is when the race car is working perfect and when you're leading like this. The guys that are having the toughest time in the race cars are guys like Marco, who's back there not working real well right now, trying to pass guys and not having any luck out of it.
Well, he's trying to stay on the lead lap because right now he's 16 seconds behind the leader.
So
Bizzo is 2 laps back. He's in 10th, so we have 9 drivers in the lead lap. Carpenter, incidentally, has stayed out long enough to get by Camara and Muto, so he is up to 11th position. And I imagine when he hit that attenuator that came off his teammate's car, he would have never guessed at that point he'd be up to 11th position.
Right along here with Scott Dixon.
22 laps to go.
Little replay. Oh,
he almost got the fence right there.
Well, like I said, the reason I think he's going to be real happy to bring this home in 4th place and all in one piece, especially when things like that are happening. So the race car, that's what's happened all night long to most of these guys. The longer you've gone in a run, and the lighter the car's gotten, and the more fuel you've burned, the more the back end is wanting to come around.
That's what Jamie said in that interview.
Exactly. So, and that's exactly what's happened to most of these guys. And that's what happened to Scott Dixon there. As the fuel goes away, it's getting looser and looser. And he's just, right now, he just wants to make sure.
The last 10, 15 laps of this race is going to be like a skating rink out there.
Yeah, I mean, most of these guys, and that's one thing that he's got to do, that Tony Kanan's got to do. He's got to keep that thing, make sure he doesn't make any mistakes and doesn't overdrive it. He doesn't have to run really quick right now.
19 laps to go. And you see he's pulling up on his teammate. And you see that he is closing in on Marco. And Marco now looked like, he did pull and then going by. So Marco goes a lap off the pace. And next up will be Townsend Bell. We caught a glimpse of Townsend Bell there with now 18 laps to go. And as you say, these cars are getting very light in the fuel load, and they're getting very slick.
Well, Marco took a chance. They had one pit strategy. They stayed out, and it didn't pay off for him tonight. It was a different pit strategy than everybody else, and it cost him in the end, and it's going to cost him big time because he was leading before he made that green flag pit stop. Now that he's a lap down and back in 9th place, but everybody else in the top 8 pretty much on the same pit stop strategy.
It's been 64 laps since the last pit stop, so these last 16, 15 laps of the race could be the toughest for our leader.
Well, they might be because of the lightness of the car. They're getting looser and looser, but he's just got to keep digging away. And you can see Castro Nevis now is pulled away from Weldon, so he's also kind of got that thing on cruise control. And again, these two guys are.
Castro Nevis he wants to win, but he has to be happy with the second after how this weekend started out for him.
Well, that's right. And quite honestly, early in the race, he was braver than Dick Tracy or whatever you want to say, because he made some tremendous moves to move from the back of the pack up to the top 5 or 6 there very early in the race. And he had to be brave because it was tough duty back there. There were a lot of cars to pass, and he made quick work of all of them.
This will be the 4th time this season that he has finished second, if he does indeed finish where he's running right now. You take a look at Weldon is 4th, Weldon 3rd, Dixon is 4th, Servia's 5th, And there's a look at Townsend Bell, who's at the tail end of the lead lap, about to get lapped. And he's back there in 8th position.
And he's had a good run. I mean, he hasn't been up there challenging for the lead. He hasn't made a lot of spectacular passes, but he's had a pretty good run.
On a night like this, if you bring the car back with all 4 wheels hanging on it, you've done a pretty good job.
That's right. You've done better than
over half the field.
15 other guys, that's for sure.
Couple lap cars out in front of your leader. That would be Bell and Wilson, and then Patrick. So before this race is over, your leader will be and will remain in heavy traffic.
Yeah, in light of all the stuff that's happened between Coyne and Marco this year, it was, I don't know whether you want to say humorous or what, but he just pulled Kurt down to the bottom and let him go. He wasn't even going to get within 10 car lengths of him when he went around him.
Once again, the lead now between first and second is over 5 seconds. And Catherine Evans has a 2-second lead over Weldon in third. So right now, all Coyne has to do is just basically gingerly work his way through lap traffic, if in fact he wants to, because the lead is just under 5 seconds now with 8 laps to go.
And he may not even do that. He may just stay right there and follow those guys, because Catherine Evans is catching him. He's caught him about a second, but there's only 8 laps to go, 7 laps to go now. So all he's got to do is turn the wick up if Catherine Evans gets close, but I don't think he's got enough time.
Catherine Evans has gone 23 races without a victory, dating back to St. Petersburg a year ago. This will be his 24th straight, the longest of his career. But yet the third time, make that, what I say, the 4th time this season, that he will finish second.
Well,
the only time out of the top 5 for a finish was last week at Iowa, and he finished in the 14th.
Every driver will tell you all you need to do is put yourself in a position to win every race. Catherine Evans has put himself in a position to win most of the races this year. Hasn't won one. He's been in the position, though, and if you're in a position, you're going to win your share. Coyne has put himself in position to win a lot of races. He's had some bad luck, a couple of crashes, but I think any driver out there will tell you that all you can ask for is for your crew to put you in a position, put you in the top 3 or top 4 every race, and you're going to win your share and win your share of championships as well.
Elio has just started his 104th straight race. Of course, the most was Scott Sharp, who got 138 straight starts. Sam Hornish, 3-time champion, had 110 starts. So Elio continues on as he says he will. He'll probably eclipse that record by Scott Sharp.
And right now, with 2 laps to go, Coyne is just
content to ride right there. Yeah. He's not going to attempt to pass anybody.
He's not going to get close to anybody. He's going to hope that nobody spins out in front of him. Remember at Homestead, he was out there just minding his own business. Somebody spun and...
There's the white flag, 1 lap to go, and Tony Coyne about to pick up his first victory of the year to go with a 2nd place and 2/3. But this is a shot in the arm that this Brazilian needed. After running so well last week and then crashing out after leading 71 laps in Iowa. And he'll come around and take the checkered flag. Catherine Evans will come by for 2nd position, and there's his teammate.
They're saying finally, let the monkey off our back.
We're going to hear from Michael, I think, here momentarily as Dixon takes 3rd, Weldon 4th, Serbia comes home 5th.
Good job, guys.
Patrick was 6th, Wilson 7th, Bell 8th. 9th was Andretti, 10th was Vizo, and 11th was Carpenter.
Getting everyone on the same page, how does this win affect your team?
Oh, it's great. You know, I think we came out here the last 2 races really strong, and it has to do with those guys working together, and they've done a really good job. And, you know, this race, Tony did a great job. I feel bad for Marco. I think he had a really good car, too. But, you know, at least we got a win. I'm happy for 7-Eleven and Tony. You know, it's been a tough stretch here, bad luck for him, so I'm glad he finally broke it.
Go out there and celebrate with your driver.
Well, Michael Andretti first walks over to say something to Danica as Tony takes the drive to victory lane. The Firestone mascot down there to congratulate him.
Yeah. Well, Tony Coyne, his crew, taking a little while to get into the victory lane. Looks like they expected him to stop out on the front row.
You can imagine how tired he is right now, although you're never as tired when you win as you are when you finish second or third. As you take a look at the points, now Dixon came in leading by 48. He now leads by 43. Weldon back by 52. So Tony Kanaan does pick up 18 points on the leader because he was trailing by 100. As you take a look at the rest of the top 10. And who's that down there? Is that Weldon?
Weldon didn't make it back to the pits.
Look at this. You talk about a tired puppy.
He is tired.
He's
Look
exhausted. He is exhausted. There's Marco. He's exhausted. Here's a guy that runs marathons. He's a triathlete, trains very hard, and he is exhausted.
Yeah, it's a tough night. It's very humid, very hot out there.
He said something to Vince Welsh is down there, and there is. I wonder why he stopped down there as Weldon climbs out. They've been out of fuel. There's Scott.
They might have short pitted by not putting in a whole load of fuel, and he might have run out of fuel.
Well, you can tell how tired he is because he's in no hurry to climb out of that race car.
Yeah, he's taking his time to get out of there.
This interview may come with the driver still in the car this evening, as the crew just one by one coming over to shake hands, because normally he'd be out jumping on top of them and hugging, and he is in no hurry to climb out because he is just flat exhausted.
Well, it was a very interesting night. Tony Kanaan deserved to win the race. He was quick most of the time. Marco was quick part of the time, but the strategy for Marco just wasn't that good. I'm not sure. He's wandering around there looking.
He said, "Come here and interview me over here. I don't want to climb out. I'm too tired."
Yeah, I think he was ready to get out.
Vince Welsh here momentarily in victory lane.
Had talked about the need for this victory as far as getting back in the championship chase, and you got it tonight. What kind of shot in the arm is this win for this team?
I mean, it's great. I feel bad about Marco. I think he had as strong a car as I had, but you know what? We did it. I want to dedicate the first win to my son. I mean, he's not here. My family, then here home. We'll celebrate when we get there next week. But and to Robert Clark, he's retiring, and he did a lot for me, the guys from HPD. So we've done it. We turned the situation around, so we're on the road now.
A quick turnaround from a week ago when you crashed after leading 71 laps. You come back, you win today. What's it say about this team that it has continued to persevere and stay in the hunt despite some disappointing finishes along the way?
Well, it's the strength that we have. I mean, we don't stop working. We don't let ourselves down. I think sometimes, including myself, when we have a bad weekend, that's when I wake up and I go, I got to do better. I mean, Saturday I had the biggest hit of my life in Iowa. Sunday afternoon I ran an hour, and then just because I was so frustrated with a lot of pain, but I think that shows the strength that this team has, and very, very happy right now.
You came into this race fourth in the points, 100 behind the leader Scott Dixon. What does this win do in regards to the championship chase as we continue on this difficult stretch now going to Watkins Glen next week?
We're coming. That's all I can say. I mean, Scott knows I respect him a lot. He's doing the job that he needs to do. He's finishing, making points, but we're going to chase. We're definitely going to chase.
Well, you look at Scott there being interviewed. So once again, Kanaan victorious. And he looks forward, as the road racers do, to go on to Watkins Glen on July 6th. That's the big holiday weekend for North America, Independence Day weekend. Watkins Glen, that famous road course in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. And, of course, after that, then we've got Nashville and Mid-Ohio and Edmonton, and the streak continues on. So our congratulations to the Andretti Green Team and our winner this evening, Tony Kanaan. This has been a presentation of ESPN in association with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Join us next Sunday from Watkins Glen, New York for coverage of the second road race of the season. For Larry Rice, I'm Gary Lee. Thanks for joining us, and so long from Richmond, Virginia.